All right, so hello, math faculty, and maybe some others. I was asked by Sandy to do a quick Zoom on ways that we can do assessment. It's looking like we'll probably be closed for a lot longer than just until the end of spring break. And so, for many people, they're giving their exams or they are going to end up giving exams online. And so, what does that look like? So, in terms of what that looks like, the most basic level is just email. Send a PDF of your exam to your students and ask them for their written work back for you to grade manually. This can be a bit of a pain in the butt, especially if you don't have a printer at home or you don't want to print a bunch of student work. What I find to be issues with this is that a lot of students will send me bizarre file types that I can't open. One student will send me 7 different pictures that are all sideways. It just becomes a big chore to grade, and I have to download all these things and keep them in order. It's a bit of a pain. But if that's what you want to do, I will help you with that. I'm going to make emails that show you how to create an Outlook group so that you can send emails to your entire class quickly. I will show you how to make sure that you save that document or whatever you've been working on for your exam as a PDF, so that way every student is able to open it. And I'll also give you guys some help in telling students how to save their information or their written work as a PDF. Because it's a lot easier if they send you a PDF with multiple pages as opposed to 7 unrotated pictures. And they're easy apps to download for a cell phone that will make a PDF for you. And that might also be useful for those people who maybe have some work that they haven't scanned and have a smartphone. You can basically scan from your phone. So I'll make a video on how to do that. Level 1 though, if you're in level 0, I highly suggest you consider using a Canvas assignment. I'll show you exactly what that looks like in video. The nice thing about a Canvas assignment, it allows you to set a due date, so that way students know that this is coming up. I know you can say that in an email, but it doesn't have the same impact. This actually, anytime they log on to Canvas for another class, it'll be in their to-do list that they still have to take your exam or do your homework, whatever it might be. You can limit the file types, so you're not going to get something that might give you a virus on your computer. You're not going to have to deal with a file type you don't even have the ability to open. You can say, I'm only accepting PDF or JPEG, whatever it is you want. There's no download. It's much like our mail lets us view the actual thing within our mail. You can view whatever they upload within Canvas. And you can even rotate it. So if they send you a sideways picture, you can put it the right direction. And then you can actually mark it up and grade and give comments and stuff. So those of us who are like used to giving feedback to our students about why they lost a point or what was wrong, you can physically write on the actual assignment. You can also just like put a little pointer and then give the right type in what they did wrong. And added bonus, they're going to get their grades too. And all that's done within one website. You don't have to do it's just so much simpler. It's like 5 seconds more setup than sending that email. And the payoff is so much greater on the back end when it comes time to grade the actual assignments. So I have an assignment I've already given to my students. I'll make a video where I show you how it looks to actually grade that assignment as well. So some of the videos, creating the assignment in the first place, including limiting those file types and setting that due date, emailing students who haven't submitted. One thing that's going to be really paramount in this transition is our students are not used to online learning. They're not used to not having you in class writing on the board what to do. So we need to take a little bit of time on our own, if we can, to send students messages reminding them if they've missed a deadline and being flexible about that. But I tend to try to send messages reminding students that they haven't done something, a couple of hours, if not 24 hours, advance of when the thing is due. Don't forget this is due tomorrow. And then I'll show you that grading so that you can see how to give that feedback and what it looks like. And I'm thinking most of the people who are in that level 0, hopefully my goal is to bring you into this level 1 once you see how awesome the Canvas assignments are. So if this isn't enough, if you don't want just paper and pencil homework, if you think that still seems like a chore, level 2, I'm going to make videos and explain how to do some other things. Canvas quizzes. There are a ton of different question types, so you can do free response, you can have the file upload, you can even pull from a question bank. So if you have multiple questions that are all a little different, that way you can add some security, and they can be timed. So Canvas quizzes, big pros compared to the assignment. the types of questions that you can bring in, the fact that you can time this. You can even allow them a certain number of tries on a Canvas quiz. They're great. Downside is there is no markup on those file uploads. So if you have students as one of your questions on the exam, upload your work. It's not going to let you grade the way you would in the assignment grader, and it makes you download the actual file to look at it. So can just be a pain in the butt. I hate that I have to download 40 files whenever I'm grading a quiz that has a submission, because I do a lot of these, create this graph in StatCrunch and upload it, and I hate downloading them with a passion. I'll also give you a quick rundown of the publisher courses if you're not using my Math Lab or WebAssign. Those are honestly the quickest way to do an exam online if you don't want to do paper and pencil. They algorithmically generate numbers, so every student will be seeing a different question, and they can be timed. So the publisher courses are a really good option. I have a list of everyone who's willing to share a publisher course for you to copy, so you're not starting from scratch with these publisher courses. But publishers are right now giving every student access to their stuff for free if they want. Doesn't matter if you're using a publisher text or not in your class. So those are a good option. And then another option, Desmos has some ways to do assessments where you can have students write in things and make their graphs and do their calculations. This is probably a higher level and maybe not something we want to deal with at this juncture, but if I have time, I'll do a little overview of what that would look like as well. So again, right now, my priority is making videos on creating a Canvas quiz. There are ways to upload publisher text banks into Canvas. That way you're not writing all your own questions, and then grading a Canvas quiz. If you are somebody who currently uses a Scantron test, I don't think anyone in our math department is, but if somebody else at Mesa or in the district is watching this, a Canvas quiz is also the easiest way to basically recreate your Scantron within Canvas. You could upload a PDF of your actual exam, and then question one will just be one with options A, B, C, D, E if you need E. And there's no reason for you to copy and paste the actual questions. The easiest thing would just be, here's the PDF, let's make the questions. That's what I was working with at Alexandra on doing yesterday. So totally easy way to move from a Scantron to Canvas. If you're doing that, you're going to use a Canvas quiz. So one question I've heard a lot of within the math department is about test security. And I think one thing I want to address really quick is I do not think lockdown browsers are the answer. I think they're more of a problem than they are worth. One, I've had students have horror stories about how things crashed because they're using the lockdown browser. Now their one attempt at something is over. I also think they highlight issues of inequity by their very nature. I could be locked into this browser that I'm talking to right now, and I'm still going to be able to use my phone over here on the side or my laptop at home. So those students who only have one way to get online are going to not be able to use all the resources, and everyone else is just going to use their phone to still do photo math or whatever it might be. So I think using a lockdown browser is a false sense of security that now they can't use. They're still going to be able to use anything and everything on the web using something else. I've even heard people be like, well, maybe I'll have them all Zoom, and that again assumes everyone has a webcam. So let's just get away from that and figure out ways that we can do a little bit better on this. So one of the quickest ways to make sure that resources don't become a big deal is to make your exam timed. If it's timed, they don't have time to Google every single question. This can, of course, be an issue with DSPS, so you do want to make sure that you're using those accommodations, but there are ways within Canvas, within all the publisher stuff, to change the settings for a particular student. So you can still give those accommodations to the students who have additional time. But timed exams are just a way to sort of cut that down a bit. Using question banks or algorithmically generated questions like the publishers have, or you can do on Canvas, is a way to make things a little bit more secure. It's not going to stop them from using resources, but it would stop them from cheating with a friend. So if they're in a chat with another friend or texting another friend, they're not going to have the exact same question or exact same numbers. You can even do this for the PDF uploads, right? You could have multiple versions. I think the best way to deal with security is to have more questions that involve communicating the reasoning, so more free response. But of course, this is going to mean more grading on the back end. So um, just an idea, but of course there is a downside to it. But if you're having them explain why or how, what's the first step you might take on this and why, or which method would you use to integrate this particular problem and what lets you know that, then they're having to do a little more thinking, and they're having to communicate that in their own words. And it's going to be obvious if they worked with somebody else or they just Googled it, because you'll be able to see what would happen if you did that. The last way to make sure your exam is pretty secure is if you have images. Images really limit the ability, and by images I mean like a picture of a graph. Explain where the maximum minimum is. Explain where the, like areas that this is concave up or something like that, like the regions. That is more reasonable. Students cannot use Mathways or what's the one on your phone, Photo Math, to just solve those questions because it's a picture. Same thing with explain the error. What is the error the student made in this? So those will take a little bit more work, but hopefully as this crisis continues, we'll have the ability to share those as a department, maybe on Canvas or some other way. So that way if I come up with a really good question that I don't think students can sort of hack or get around, I'll share it with everyone and vice versa. I know Javier has a ton of good questions, but basically we shouldn't be reinventing the wheel. We should be helping each other do the same thing. And then last, I don't know if I'll even get into this in the videos, but we could also move away from traditional assessments. At this point, we can't be sure a student is taking that exam themselves, that their friend isn't taking it, a tutor isn't taking it. It's really hard to do. And we know that there's going to be issues with test security. So maybe we consider this a moment to have some richer assessments. And so with that, I'm thinking maybe projects where they have to go do a thing and then submit a written report or a PowerPoint or Google Slides. You could have them do video submissions, screencasting. We're all going to figure it out right now. So they could do a video submission explaining a concept or working through a problem. You could even ask them to create some stuff for a test. Create an exam question, write out your answer, and a rubric to grade by. Something like that. So there are the ways to kind of maybe take this moment and move it even beyond just making our class online, but making it maybe richer for students as well with more authentic assessments. So those are sort of all your levels, but I'm going to focus on moving as many people as possible into this level 1, because like I said, I used my Canvas assignment for the first time last week to collect a worksheet when I made my class optional, and it was awesome. So if you are in level 0, if you're thinking about having your students just email you a PDF, if you are at all intrigued by the idea of not downloading a bunch of crap, watch the videos on the overview of a Canvas assignment.